Do you want to know how to stop kids from whining? Well, many other people do too, and that's what this video is all about. I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach parenting and self-government, communications, relationships all over the world. Let's talk about whining and what you can do about it. In this video, we're going to understand whining in your child just a little bit better, and then I'm going to share with you some key skills that you can use to help your child stop whining. Whining can be really frustrating. I know it feels like we should be able to just turn it off since it seems like they just turned it on. But did you know that we can't actually stop another person from whining? No, it's true. Every person gets to choose their behavior. They have complete say over it. But we can create an environment where a person chooses to stop their own whining. And that's really what we're going for. Because as I teach here at the Teaching Self-Government channel, everything relates to self-government. So what is self-government? Self-government is being able to determine the cause and effect of any given situation and possessing a knowledge of your own behaviors so that you can control them. And children can learn self-mastery. They learn it from our teaching them how to do key skills and how to examine and analyze themselves and learn cause and effect for their actions. So let's talk about how to do that. Before we hit those key skills though, I do want to take a moment and just discuss whining. Why are they whining? That's important for us to know. Well, they're trying to get your attention. Whining is attention seeking. Sure, maybe they got hurt before they whined, maybe they didn't get their way before they whined, but really that whining is just attention seeking. So we've got to keep that in perspective. They are wanting our attention, but they're going about it in the wrong way. So what is a good way for them to go about seeking our attention? There are better ways. We can teach them those ways by teaching them skills that will work for them to convey their feelings and thoughts to us, and by having the type of relationship where we have good, open communication about all the things they're experiencing in their lives. Now, people of all ages whine. I know that usually we associate whining with younger children, but I have met many children who whine when they are 17 and 18 years old. In fact, back in 2009, I was in an episode of The World's Strictest Parents. That's right, I was one of the world's strictest parents. Anyway, in this episode, there were two British teens, both age 17, that came to stay in our home for 8 days. And what people saw at the very beginning of the program was a lot of teenage whining, especially from Hannah. So how do we help someone choose not to whine? Well, they need skills. What skills do they need? Some of my favorite skills are what I call the 4 basic skills. There are 4 basic skills that I teach in the Teaching Self-Government Parenting program that help children start to learn self-government for themselves. Now, you can find out a lot about these skills and much more by taking the Teaching Self-Government Parenting course, reading some of my books, or attending some of the trainings that I give all over the world. And you can find out information about that at teachingselfgovernment.com. But what are these 4 basic skills? They are following instructions, accepting no answers and criticism, accepting consequences, and disagreeing appropriately. Each one of these 4 basic skills has a skill set attached to it. And when a child learns all the steps to each one of these 4 basic skills, that actually gives them the tools that they need not to whine. In fact, there is one step that is in every one of the 4 basic skills that is directly related to whining. This is step number 2 of all of the 4 basic skills, which is have a calm face, voice, and body. When a person is whining, their voice isn't very calm, and then when their voice isn't calm, then their face isn't calm, and then their whole body isn't calm. Those things all go together. Once the whining voice starts, everything becomes not calm. So teach your children, young and old, what does it look like when my face is calm? What does it look like when my face is not calm? What does it sound like when my voice is calm? And what does it sound like when my voice is not calm? They need to know the difference. Because if they can pinpoint the difference, then they can notice it within themselves and make a change. In fact, it's good to do some role play practice. I know role playing behaviors seems a little artificial, but I can promise you that that type of proactive parenting approach really does prepare the children to analyze themselves, the situations around them, and choose not to engage in those behaviors. I remember a time when my daughter Paige came to me and said, "Mom, I'm trying to play with my friend Susan, but Susan is just attention seeking, Mom. She's just whining because she doesn't get things her way. So I don't know if she wants to play anymore." And I had to hold back the chuckle. I thought, here's my little daughter who's 5 years old, who's talking about her friend Susan, who happens to be whining and attention seeking. How many 5-year-olds can diagnose their friends like this? Well, not very many. But because our family took the time to talk about what is a calm face, voice, and body, what is attention seeking, and what is not attention seeking, and even more specifically, we talked about what's positive attention seeking and negative attention seeking. And whining is definitely negative attention seeking. My 5-year-old daughter was able to diagnose exactly what was happening with her friend, and she didn't engage in a whining match or a power struggle with her friend. Instead, she just looked at it and said, "Oh, I know what you are doing. Maybe you're not okay and you might need to go home." Anyway, I thought it was very interesting. Of course, I helped the girls work it out, and we got to teach her little friend about whining and a calm face, voice, and body, and attention seeking as well. And I've got to say that even though the child still kept whining for her parent, she did not whine when she came to visit my house, because she knew that we knew different. Now that is a key thing. Do you give in to whining? Because if whining works, whining is not going to stop. If someone whines to you about something and you actually talk to them about it, they are going to continue to whine for other things as well. That's super important to recognize. Sometimes we think if we just answer their little question, they'll stop the whining. But no, we need to get them to calm, then discuss the question so that they know the whining is not appropriate. So you've got to correct it. Now, there are 5 different skills that I teach parents, and you can learn these skills at the teachingselfgovernment.com website. You can attend one of my 3-day trainings or take the course or read some of my books, and you can learn these 5 parenting skills that help solve the problems that the children are having. But one of those skills is what we call an effective correction. And I would do an effective correction for a child that's whining immediately. And that effective correction tells them, this is what you're doing. And I would say, right now you don't have a calm face, voice, and body. This is whining. What you should do is you should take a deep breath and get calm so that you can have a calm face, voice, and body, and then we can talk about it. And I would even tell them, since you chose not to have a calm face, voice, and body, then you have earned to have an extra chore. So then they get the opportunity to do an extra chore. We practice things the right way because there's a practicing that we do afterward, a type of technique, so that they really instill it in them. That was the right way. What I did before was not effective. You've got to correct them every time, point them toward calmness, and then take the opportunity to talk to them about what they should have done and practice things that right way. Your children need that correction. Otherwise, they think this works to get your attention. Don't talk to them about whatever it is. In fact, if you feel like you must say something about what they're whining about, then say, I can tell you want to tell me something right now because you're speaking about cookies or whatever it is. And I want to talk to you about that, but we can't talk about it yet until we choose to be calm. So I'm going to do a correction. We'll choose to be calm, and then we'll talk about the cookies. So they know you heard them. You heard cookies, but you're not actually talking back to them. Instead, you're pointing in the direction that they should go. And that's what they need. They need leadership during that time. So we can't give in. Now, there's an important part of this whole interaction. In fact, it holds all of it together, and that is the self-government of the parent. In fact, all of the self-government teaching that I teach really comes back to helping the parent self-govern and prepare to calmly and consistently correct their children. How is your calmness? Could you improve maybe? If so, I have something special for you. For watching this video today, you can have the free Calm Parenting Toolkit. It's a mini course that will start you on your road to self-government. Click the link in the description below this video and get the free Calm Parenting Toolkit today so that you can start being more self-governed, which prepares the space for your children to be self-governed too. Click on the link below. I'll see you on that toolkit, and I promise you, you won't regret it.